sharing that news and telling a bit of that story, I think is probably a good place to start.
I got a glitch. Oh, it just hit me
Hello,
now.
my loves. Yeah, wow, it's been a minute. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I'm Ash, your truth-bombing fairy godmother for everything love, dating, and relationships. But really, I mean, I feel like my content has kind of expanded beyond that just due to all of the life changes over the past year and a half or so. So maybe it's about time I find a new tagline, but yeah. Anyway, hi, hello, I'm back. Well, so much for my comment on my last video about aiming to be back here more regularly. I definitely had that intention, but life has just sort of had other plans over the past several months, which I, of course, will tell you guys all about. But if there's one thing that has been so consistent and has remained unchanged and is on my mind constantly, it's how much I miss you all and miss communicating with you so very much. I absolutely do intend on having regular uploads once again, but I'm really just trying to go with the flow of life and find some type of new routine and sense of normalcy amongst a lot of change and transition. So as a bit of a background and recap for those of you who either don't know or just need a reminder because it has been a really long time, I started my channel here at the start of 2020 and had been in a long-term relationship with my ex-fiance for almost 9 years by the time we broke up, which was around May to June of last year. And I documented a lot of that. Well, maybe not a lot. That was, again, very sporadic, but I documented quite a bit of that here on my channel and just the absolute agonizing pain it involved. And to say I went through a really dark time throughout the last half of last year, 2021, would be an understatement. It was truly the lowest, darkest, most painful, empty chapter of my life. But fast forward to now, and I am so grateful to report that my life is in a very different place than it was this time last year. I went back to the US from Australia for a few months at the end of last year through to the start of this year, just to be with family and just really focus on myself and just kind of like check out for a while. And without a doubt, that was the best possible thing I could have done for myself. It really allowed me the time and the space to just delve deep and do a lot of the work that I needed to do to healthfully move through that experience. It was so profoundly healing, and I am so thankful that I did it and that I got the opportunity to do that. And not only healing and necessary for me, but it was for my ex as well. Although we were no longer romantically involved with one another in any way, we were still very involved in each other's lives prior to me going to the US, as you would expect after almost 9 years together and owning a house together and just all the logistical, physical disentangling that has to happen after a long-term relationship ends. And me going away for a while gave us both some much needed distance from one another and allowed us to eventually arrive at what is now such a healthy, respectful, mutually appreciative friendship with one another. I am so lucky to have the relationship that I do with my ex-partner, and I'm so beyond proud of both of us for what we've managed to achieve both in our own separate individual lives, but also what we've managed to redefine and maintain and preserve between each other as well. I've had a lot of you ask questions about my pets that were often featured in the background of my past videos, my big white fluffy dog and my 2 white fluffy ragdoll cats. And I'm very happy to report that we completely share custody of the pets. All of them are actually with me here right now, so if you hear them in the background or see them, there you go. But I completely understand and respect that sharing pets doesn't always work between ex-partners, and that's totally okay. It's not the right choice for everyone, but it works great for me and my ex-partner. And I really don't care or want to hear any negative opinions or judgments about that. With peace and love, him and I are still some of each other's biggest cheerleaders, and we are very happy supporting each other in whatever way continues to make sense for both of us. Our pets are very happy. We're great. Everyone's great. And that's that. But anyway, after spending those few months in the US, I came back here to Australia at the end of February this year. And that really marked the beginning of just this entirely new chapter in my life. I mean, I went from spending the entirety of my 20s with the person I thought I was going to be with forever to turning 30 and being single again and just starting fresh in a ton of different ways. I moved in with a housemate who I met online, and I started a new role at work and was just really readjusting to all these things that I hadn't done by myself really ever. But I was really, really excited and ready for all of it. And I will not go into detail about my living situation at that time and what ultimately happened, just out of respect for the other party's privacy. But needless to say, what started out as a very good situation ended up not so very good, and things did not work out. So I am now living in this beautiful little rental property all by myself. It's very peaceful and I love it, and I'm really, really happy here, and hopefully it's now going to provide me with the environment and the atmosphere and the consistency to be back here on this channel a hell of a lot more. But importantly, one of the biggest blessings that came out of that living situation was a very, very unexpected one, which was and is my boyfriend. So yeah, I am very happily in a relationship now and have been for the past several months. And I will absolutely go into more detail about that and the kind of deeper, of course, emotional processes involved in that, and dating after a long-term relationship and all of that stuff. There's so much I can unpack and talk about there. But for now, just sharing that news and telling a bit of that story, I think is probably a good place to start. And funnily enough, I think the day I met my boyfriend was the day I last uploaded a video on this channel. And I know that because he had followed me on Instagram, and I remember I had posted my new YouTube upload to my Instagram story, and he had said something about it. So that will forever be stuck in my mind now. So just an odd coincidence. But anyway, a few weeks before him and I met, it was such a weird manifestation type of event, whatever you want to call it, because I had started having conversations with friends, several conversations with friends, where I very clearly and confidently started stating that I felt really ready and excited for the first time since my split nearly a year prior to start exploring the possibility of dating and meeting someone again. But I also had like zero interest in actively pursuing it. I didn't want to get on dating apps or anything like that. I just kind of felt really open and optimistic about the possibility of just welcoming whatever or whoever it was that came along my path into my life, and just, you know, whatever capacity. I just felt very open and excited. And although I had zero expectations of what that even meant or what it would look like or what it would entail, I did have an idea or a notion, whatever, that I did probably want to stay single for quite some time. But that didn't exactly happen. So basically what happened was I had just moved in with my housemate at the time. I had only been there maybe a couple of weeks, and this was at like the end of April. Yes, the end of April, because it was right before I turned 30. Anyway, end of April, she texted me. She was out of the house and I was working from home at the time, and she texted me to let me know that we had some internet technicians coming around to do something from like our internet provider company. And I was like, yep, no worries, I'll let them in, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. And not long after, of course, I hear a knock at the door. I go downstairs to let them in and let them go about their business. And I was just, I was preoccupied with my work, so I was just gonna get back to work. And the second I opened that door, there was two guys, two technicians, and I was just immediately drawn to one of them. And this was during COVID mandates, so he was completely masked up. He had mask on, hat on. I could barely even see the man, to be honest. But there was just something about his presence. I don't know. His presence, his body language, to be honest, his eyes, that I noticed, and I liked what I noticed. But I cannot stress enough that I am not that type of person at all. I don't think I've ever looked at someone and just felt an immediate attraction towards them. I really can't think of a time where that's happened. I can certainly objectively notice and appreciate when someone is attractive, but that doesn't mean that I myself feel any type of like attraction or pull towards them in any way. I'm more someone who, once I'm like interacting with someone and I see how we vibe and interact and communicate with each other, that's what makes me attracted to them. But there was something about this one. There was something about this guy that I just found very attractive immediately. But of course, I played it cool. I went back into my room and kept working and going about my business, and they went about theirs and did what they needed to do. And then when they were done, he came and knocked on my door and kind of like explained to me what they had done. And to be honest, I didn't register a damn word that he said. I feel like I was probably just like staring at him, nodding, looking like an absolute idiot. And him and I have talked about this moment plenty of times since, and he has since admitted that he actually had like pulled down his mask a little bit during this interaction at the end to sort of like better connect, I guess. And he said that he felt my energy just like completely shift when he did that, and I suddenly like seemed really interested and engaged. So I guess me playing it cool at the start worked. But little did he know I had been drooling over him since the moment I opened my front door. But I do remember the little mask trick, and I feel like now that I'm describing it, it sounds really sleazy and weird. Sorry, babe. But I promise it was not weird or sleazy or anything like that. There was something about, I guess, I don't know, the way he did it and just his energy overall that was just so comforting and just like calmed my soul. I don't really know how to describe it. It was just like something just immediately clicked. Like he just belonged in my room with me. Like he was just meant to be there. It felt so normal, and it just felt really safe while also being intensely attractive. But anyway, they finished up and I walked them out, and I tried to just kind of just let it go and not really think about it. But as I just continued working, he just kept popping back up in my head. And so I ended up texting my housemate and telling her about it. And I asked her if it was okay, or if she could ask him, if it was okay if she gave me his number so that I could text him, because I knew that she had his number because he had texted her when he was on his way to our house just to let her know that they were on their way to come do the installation work or whatever it was that they had to do. I still don't know to this day. And so she did, to which he said yes, and I then texted him and did my very best to assure him that I had literally never done anything like this in my life before, and that I swear I'm not a huge creep, and I'm really sorry if this was inappropriate, but that I wanted to know if he was single. and he said that he was, and that he was flattered that I had reached out. And so we just kept texting back and forth, and the conversation was amazing. And either that night or perhaps it was the next day, he asked if he could take me out to dinner. So he made a plan, didn't tell me where we were going. He came and picked me up. He obviously already had my address, so that worked out well. But yeah, came and got me, took me to a really lovely restaurant. And although I obviously haven't been on very many adult dates, I couldn't have possibly imagined a first date going any better. The restaurant was amazing, was beautiful, and not that I would have given two shits where we went, to be honest. I feel like I'm extremely, probably even too laid back in that area, but that's beside the point. We had great chat the whole time. I think we spoke for like 3 hours, kept the staff there probably way later than they wanted to be, and then went on a really nice, cute walk around a park that is the restaurant's basically in. It's this really pretty park that overlooks the city at night where we live, and went for a walk and just had more good chat. And then we went back to his car, and he had bought flowers beforehand and gave them to me as a little surprise. I was actually turning 30 that night at midnight, so that was really special and sweet. I'm not really sure what his plan was with the flowers, if he was like waiting to see if the date would go well. I don't know if he just wouldn't have given them to me otherwise. I don't know. But yeah, and then drove me back home with a plan and promise for a second date. And it was fantastic. And I remember texting like all of my friends after the night was over, just going like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. I really like this guy. And like I said at the start of this video, this was just a very, very unexpected event. I had just announced that I was ready to start dating again and open myself back up to that possibility after it being completely and utterly non-existent on my radar for the past year or so. And then here this perfect man just literally just shows up on my doorstep. And amongst many other relevant video topics that relate to just this whole transition and experience that I certainly plan to record and talk about more, the experience of struggling with deciding whether or not I wanted to pursue any type of committed or more serious relationship again is definitely something I would like to go into further detail about, because like I said, although I really didn't have any expectations, I did have this idea that I was going to be single for a while longer, and I didn't know if I wanted to be in a committed relationship again at that point. And I was very vocal about that uncertainty and that fear and those reservations with my boyfriend. But damn him. With him being the most kind, gentle, patient human I've probably ever met, he was so understanding and willing to just go with my own timing and pace. And needless to say, I very quickly came to my own conclusion that I did not want to share this boy with anyone else. And I also had zero desire to pursue or share my time with anyone else either. So choosing to be in a committed relationship with him became a very, very easy decision. And by July, we made things official, as the kids say. I don't know. I have no idea what they say. I'm 30, remember? And there's so much I can and will share about him and us and myself and all the ways that I feel I've continued and am continuing to grow and evolve, both within this relationship and just outside of it, within my own being as well. But I just want to share how content and at peace I am life has been really challenging and stressful and volatile for a lot of other reasons over the past several months. And I truly do not know how I would have gotten through it and how I would have coped without him. I feel so lucky and grateful and blessed to share my life with someone like him. He makes me feel so grounded and calm, and I'm a very intense person who needs that. And it's just really, really wonderful, and I'm really, really enjoying this time. I know it's still early days and a lot of things can happen and blah, 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 all the things, but it just feels good to say that I am really happy and I'm doing well. And if I'm being honest, I feel like one of my biggest challenges is thinking that I don't deserve him and I don't deserve happiness and things this good can't possibly happen to me, and it is all too good to be true, and you know, which is a whole other thing that I am more than happy to discuss in videos, because I know that those are very relatable experiences for a lot of us. So that's definitely something that I am continuing to work through as best as I can. But all in all, I am doing really well, and I just wanted to share that with all of you and let you all know what the heck has been going on. There have been a lot of really beautiful things that have come out of this past year, but there's also been a lot of challenges also, and a lot of really rapid, unpredictable change, which is just another reason why I've had to take a step back from YouTube, because I'd really prefer during times like just big transition periods to just try and remain as present as I can within that flux and that ebb and flow, and just try to stay present and ride those waves while they're happening, and then be able to come back and speak about that experience in a much more grounded, reflective, settled place. And I think I'm hopefully finally getting to that place. But as I've said multiple times throughout this video, there are so many different topics and things I want to explore and dissect and dive into and share with you guys, things that I've learned since the last time I uploaded, things that I'm still learning and processing, things that I may have changed my opinion on in some ways, things that have remained consistent or have been reaffirmed in some ways, just so many things. I've literally started keeping notes in like the notes app on my phone of just like different topic ideas and different things that I want to share and discuss with you guys. So just know, although I've been like very MIA, I know, oh gosh, my hair just got stuck in my necklace, sorry. Very, very MIA, very irregular, and I know, I'm sorry. I can't imagine a world where I ever neglect this channel permanently. I will always come back to some extent, and I really want to say that I'm going to be coming back regularly, but I feel like I've said that so many times now, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep my thoughts to myself. But I think life is settling down, and I'm in a place where I can find a new sense of routine and normalcy, which will hopefully enable me to come back more regularly. I'm not going to say, you know, commit to something like weekly uploads. I don't know yet. I would love that, but I don't know yet. But if there is one thing that I am so sure of, like I said at the start of this video, it's how much I miss it. I miss you guys so much. I miss communicating with you guys. I miss going back and forth in the comment section. I miss it all like crazy. It's such a huge source of fulfillment for me, and I would love to be back more. So that is certainly my intention. It's always my intention, and we'll just see what happens. But anyway, I'll shut up now. Thank you so much for those of you who have continued to watch this video through to the end. Thank you to those of you who have just been patient and stuck around despite just the chaos of the past year and me just, being all over the place and just those of you who have stuck around from the beginning, thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And I love those of you who are new. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you come back. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you've made it this far, and subscribe. I love seeing new subscribers. And yeah, chat to you all soon. Much love.
Tell me what was in that stuff you gave me. I think I like it. In fact, it made me high.